Watching them in practice, they've been here since Saturday with two-a-days on Jordan Hill and Tony Douglas, your first-round picks.
Well, I'm happy with both of them in the sense that I think they're going to be good. Right now, as far as Tony Douglas is concerned, when he came in, we thought he was a guy in college who scored the ball and was questionable as a point guard. I think in the first game yesterday and this game, he's shown he can play point guard and pretty well, but he's struggling with his shooting right now. So that's what's, he's just not playing as well as he could. I think he'll be a good defender, and I think he'll be a good player. As far as Jordan Hill, he's got quickness, he's got size, he's got skill. But this is the first time where he's playing against guys his size across the line. And so he's going to get used to that. Plus, in his case, the pace of the game, because it seems to be taking something out of him. But I think he's an active player, and I think he'll develop really well into a good player.
Yeah, I thought yesterday he was kind of tentative out there. He seemed to be more assertive.
Yeah, I agree. And that's going to take time to where he feels comfortable in what the pro world is all about.
Austin Davis fires his Morris Ahman. Ahman has been a nice surprise, and looking like he's going to get perhaps an invitation to camp. Well,
yeah, I think that's right. He, he's been a shooter, and he's a guy that didn't get a great chance at Utah because of the personnel they had. We did look into trading him for him last year, but it happened right at a time when they had some injuries, so they couldn't give him up, and then it just kind of fell by the wayside. So they didn't re-sign him, so there's an opportunity for him here, and I hope we can get him. He's good.
Speaking with Donnie Walsh here in the third quarter of the NBA Summer League. A lot of Knicks fans back home, Donnie, they want to know what's the latest with David Lee and Nate Robinson, the two restricted free agents.
We're talking to their agents, and we certainly want both of them back. But it's got to be done at a salary that's reasonable for what we want to accomplish, or else it defeats the whole progress of the team. And so I'm working on that with them, and we'll see how that goes.
Now, neither have received any offer sheets from another team. What are their options if they don't, and you guys don't agree in terms of any kind of long-term deal?
Well, I think it is true that they can go to Europe. They can pick up the qualifying offer. We could take the qualifying offer off the table. They could sit out. There's options, but I don't think we'll get to that, to be honest. Oh, you could do a sign and trade. That'd be another thing.
Now, with something that Paul Millsap just recently signed an offer sheet, another power forward, how much does that come into what he gets and how you have to deal, or do you not even deal with that part of it?
Oh, no, I do. And I thought he got it was a reasonable offer sheet, and that's why I think that they'll match it, is what I'm hearing.
Right. The word on Nate Robinson is that he received a 2-year deal, or at least getting offers from Greece. So you finding that's going to become a big part? First of all, what have you heard on that? And will that become a big part of negotiations with players now?
Well, it might. I think players have always had the ability to I knew that kid had no hope with him. It might, but it's probably always been true that they could go to Europe. I mean, particularly when they're free agents. It just wasn't done a lot until Childress did it last year. And, that's an option that they can take. But the one thing about that is that we still retain their rights. And so, if they come back to the NBA, they're still our property.
Right. In addition to your own free agents trying to sign, you tried to sign Grant Hill and Jason Kidd. Both seemed genuinely interested, but both decided to go elsewhere. How'd you feel that played out, and are you still in the free agent market using that mid-level exemption?
Yeah, I think to a degree, if I could find somebody that I thought was worth that. Those two guys were the kind of guys that I wanted to see our team play like that.
Have that kind of leadership around.
Yeah, well, these guys that go out and play the game the right way have always done that. Are all about winning, all about their teammates, bring teams together, and stand for the right things. And I think that's what the kind of players we have to have. And I really did think we had a chance in both cases. now that I look back on Jason Kidd, because we're over the cap, it was easy for Dallas to up their offer to where we couldn't reach it. In the case of Grant Hill, I thought we had a legitimate chance. I really did. And I think we probably, it depends how you look at it, but we had a legitimate offer out there that was probably as good as what he ended up signing for. I think in his case, he just didn't want to go through the hassle of leaving Phoenix.
Right. At this point in his career with his family. Right. Donnie Walsh with us, and we'll have more with the next president of Bank. Interesting to see how many other new players, if so, will be on the roster when he goes to training camp in October. We mentioned Lee and Robinson, Donnie, as Donnie Walsh joining us here in the third quarter. Shot blocked, but a foul. Is there any time where you get concerned in terms of the timing with Lee and Robinson? Is there a timetable you have? Do you get concerned as it goes on?
Well, yeah. I mean, there would be a time when you do get concerned, but we haven't reached it yet. But at some point, I think that both sides have to say, well, if this isn't going to work, what do we do about it?
The negotiating process in that, you have to play the game, I suppose. What's the hardest part from your standpoint in trying to make a deal?
I think it's to come together in value. If you have a real disagreement in value, then, that's a problem.
Douglas with a nice rebound, good pass inside, and Crawford able to put it in. Again, we've seen Douglas, he does a lot of little things, and he's got that, a little bit of a leadership quality out there.
Well, he's known as a guy who had good numbers in college, and was known as a guy that can score the ball. So, I'm a little surprised, but I understand because, he's trying to learn a whole new system. He's trying to play with a bunch of guys he's not played before, and he's probably also trying to show well and nervous. But I think he'll be fine.
So, Donnie, what about the front court? Like, you got a lot of guys, Gallo, Darko coming in now. So what's the projection there with Chandler? Some of these guys are going to be going to the 2 position.
Well, I think that's one thing we definitely miss is a real prototype 2. And I think that Chandler can, he can probably handle it defensively. The way Mike plays, you need a shooter. But the 2 position and the 3 position are kind of mirrors, and they're both wing players. So what you need is somebody, and Chandler's more of a forward. You need to find out if Chandler can guard the 2, and that's why he goes to 2, because Mike feels he can guard it 2. And then I think he can put him in positions where he can score, no matter who he's being guarded by.
And the status of Curry, it seemed like it's a good report that he's lost weight.
He definitely has done that. He's lost 30 pounds, but more importantly, he's firmed up, and he basically starting to look like he used to look probably some years ago. And I know he's working on his individual game and getting better with post moves and things like that. So he's going to continue that for the summer, and he needs to. Now, if he comes back and he's as good or a better player than he was, because he hasn't played since I've been here, then that's a big plus because you get the center position. And he's I think if he can play in Mike's system at his size, he'd be a really unique player in the league. And he definitely has the athletic ability to do that.
The skill level is there. Sometimes, whether the desire to be as good as you can be. And that might be the hardest part in terms of projecting players when you're drafting them, knowing what's up in their head, what's in their heart in terms of, you see skill level, but how do you deal with that in terms of finding out what's in a guy's heart? Does he have that desire to be the best he can be?
Well, I think, look, we all go through a process where we try to determine that, but where you find it out is when they come out here and get hit a couple of times and they keep playing. Or they're not playing well. Like right now, Douglas isn't playing great. George's league. We'll try to take a look at every player and give them a chance and see if they can do something to help our team. We know we need shooting at the 2. So Almond is a guy we're really looking at because he can do that. And we're watching his defense to see if he can match up with most 2s in the league.